Mahmood, aka Labour's new asylum seeker policies, are horrendous. They don't work. They don't really do anything apart from make life harder for asylum seekers and stigmatize them even more. So she wants to change the rules to the fact that asylum seekers don't actually get, they have to be asylum seekers for 20 years, and that at any point every 2.5 years they can be sent away from the UK. So, say you've been an asylum seeker for 15 years, you've finally built a life, you have a family, the UK government can turn around and say, fuck off, leave. That is inhumane. That is disgusting. They say they're going to make it even harder for asylum seekers to work, but the thing is, it is already hard. They're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to work for the first 12 months, and then after that they may be allowed to work, which means it is literally the government's fault that they cannot provide, they cannot pay tax, they cannot contribute because the government doesn't want them to. And then they use that as an excuse to blame the asylum seeker, saying, oh, we're giving you free accommodation, free somewhere to live. You guys are the reason they can't work. I was banging on about this when the Tories were in charge. They say they don't contribute, but they can't. You don't allow them to contribute. They're not allowed to work within the first 12 months of being here. And then afterwards, it is a maybe they can work. And because you take so long processing their applications, it is all up in the air whether they will get leave to remain. Then she is saying only those who take safe and legal routes to come here can seek asylum. But you don't have those routes set up. You haven't done any of that. There is no work put into doing that. If you want to, why haven't you made it so asylum seekers can apply for asylum from embassies abroad? Why not? Because now they can't. And guess what? Entering the country through non-normal means and then seeking asylum is completely legal under international law. So does that mean that the UK is above international law according to Shabana Mahmood? All of this is to appeal to the far right. All of this is to appeal to people who actually won't ever vote for you. And all you have to do is come out and explain to normal people how the asylum system works and actually improving the asylum system so asylum seekers are treated like humans, and then some of the periphery issues, like them being helped in hotels, are solved by you actually getting through the backlog, by you actually giving them the right to work, or getting through the applications faster, so if they have the right to remain they can go off and work. Instead, you are appealing to the far right, and by saying, oh, we'll strip them of some of their rights if we feel like they're not necessary, like accommodation, then you're going to have asylum seekers on the street. And when you have asylum seekers on the street, you're going to have people like the right wing press going around and finding them and saying, see, look, now they've got these dangerous people on our streets. It is illogical. It is nonsensical. It is all just to feed into racism, and it is fucking despicable that the Labour Party are the ones introducing this disgusting right-wing policy on asylum seekers, when we have very clear and obvious choices we can make to actually treat asylum seekers like humans and solve those issues, whilst also addressing the issues, which aren't actual issues, that the right wing are trying to convince people are happening, and then de-radicalizing those people that the right wing has radicalized. But instead, Labour have decided we're going to appeal to the bigots, we're going to appeal to the far right, and we're going to try and get their votes instead of normal, regular human beings.